Welcome back to the Thrifty Food Plan channel, friends. If you are new here, I am Jay, and I'm sort of the creator slash facilitator of this little YouTube community. A couple weeks ago, on the community page of my channel, I put up a post just sort of asking if you all had any more personal questions for me. My videos tend to focus on grocery hauls and meal plans and what I'm eating in a day, those sorts of things. And I just wanted to open it up and see if you all had kind of more personal questions for me. And some of you did, and I'm going to answer those questions today. So the very first question comes from Cycling on Plants. And she asks, what is your idea of a perfect day? I actually make sure that I budget for my most perfect day every year. Moab, Utah is my soul space. There is something about Moab that speaks to my soul at a profound level, and so I try to go every year. Moab is home to Arches National Park, Canyonlands. It's all red rock, right? And big arches and canyons. And if you're my age, you might remember the movie Thelma and Louise when they drive off the side of the cliff. That was filmed in Moab. Anyway, I go to Moab every single year in July. And so my perfect day is waking up before sunrise, packing myself sort of a trail brunch of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, some carrot sticks, a piece of fruit, being out on a trail very early in the morning as the sun is rising. I hike for 3 or 4 hours because you can't hike in July in Moab kind of after noon because it is too hot. Right? But I get a big hike in the morning. I come back. I eat on the trail, by the way. It's amazing. And come back and take a shower and spend the rest of the day sort of reading books or watching movies or writing or producing videos, kind of whatever. It's even more perfect. It's even more perfect of a day if the college phenom is with me, and she hasn't been with me the last couple years. She says she's coming with me this July, so we will wait and see if she actually comes with me. But that is always my most perfect day are the days that I am in Moab, Utah. Okay, so speaking of the college phenom, my daughter, I have 2 questions related to the phenom. First, Erin Lynn asks, why did your daughter decide to go overseas to have her college education? And Diane asks, how exciting that your daughter gets to study in London. What is her area of interest? So the college phenom, when she and we were sort of thinking through college. She did apply to a bunch of colleges in the U.S. And, you know, she initiated sort of a look at colleges in the UK. And she did that really because she had a sneaking suspicion inside of herself that she might want a more international experience. And when you apply in the UK, you have to pre-state, you have to apply for your major. And she has a dual major of history and art history. And her college, right, is located very close to a lot of museums, including like the British Museum. So if you are an art history major, it's an amazing spot to be studying, because like you talk about things in class and then you walk over or train over to the British Museum. So, you know, when you talk to her about how she picked where she wanted to go to college, she would say, I wanted a more international experience, and I wanted to study art history, and London is an amazing place to do that because of all of the museums, including the British Museum. I would add to that my co-parent and I were sort of helicopter parents, and part of me believes that the phenom chose to go to college overseas to get as far away from us as possible. She just wanted some independence. So I don't take it as criticism. I take it as, it is time for her to stand in her own ground and live her own life. And it is what it is. And I'm very excited that she's going to be home a little bit this summer because I miss her terribly. All right, so the next set of questions are kind of interrelated. The first one comes from Eileen. She says, what are the nutrient, macro, protein, and calorie counts of the way you are cooking and eating? I'm concerned that you're missing key nutrients. So I do not count all of that stuff. My extended family is a family that has a history of disordered eating. And so it is not, it does not, and I also, if you watched my Why I Eat and Shop This Way video, I am practicing sobriety. I am somebody who engaged in alcohol abuse for decades and have a bit of an addictive personality. And so I really want to avoid anything that might lead me to have disordered relationships with food. And that said, I do pay a lot of attention to the food I am buying and eating, really using the USDA Thrifty Plan's nutritional guidance. So I try to make sure that I am buying foods that will increase the likelihood that my nutritional needs will be met. And you see that in a lot of my videos. Related, though, Melanie asked, do you get blood work done? And yes, I do. And that I get blood work done about every 6 months. That is because my doctor and I are sort of tracking my liver's recovery from I had alcohol-induced fatty liver disease at the point that I got sober. And so we do a whole panel of blood tests every 6 months. The primary purpose of that is to check how my liver's doing. But we also check for other things. And so one thing that the blood tests reveal is that a lot of vegans, I do need to take a B12 supplement, which I do. And I always try to find them on discount, right? So I do take a B12 supplement. I also eat a Brazil nut every couple of days, and I forget, it's there's a mineral that I was low on. I think it's selenium or something. Anyway, my doctor told me to eat a Brazil nut a couple times a week. I buy these once a year. I buy a giant bag and freeze them and then pull some out and just keep them on the counter to take. And, because I am an older person, older woman, I also do sort of calcium and vitamin D. So when my doctor sort of looks at my blood panel, he does kind of take a look at what's showing up and recommends sort of supplements to me on occasion. But right now, those are the only 3 nutritional supplements that I'm taking based on what shows up in my blood work. Related though, Helen asked, did you do anything special to grow your hair long? I used to have really short hair, really short. During COVID, couldn't get my hair cut, right? Because nothing was open and or it was pre-vaccine. And as an older person, I was not unnecessarily going to expose myself before vaccines. And so it was really during that year and a half, 2 years of more kind of prescribed lockdowns that I just stopped getting my hair cut and I let it grow really, really long. And now I'm not inclined to cut it. Um, I don't know if it does anything, but like I do take a biotin supplement a couple of times a week. Again, not every day, like maybe 2 times a week I'll take a biotin supplement. It's supposed to help with both hair and fingernails, and my nails are natural nails, they're not fake. So I don't know if it does anything. And I bought these at the Dollar Tree, so these are probably not like high grade biotin supplements. But if I did anything special to grow my hair long, it was probably this. Otherwise, it was just a function of COVID. It was just a function of COVID. All right. Next question comes from Frederica. She asks, how do you exercise self-control, especially when you only have the foods you bought to eat and you want something different? So I would say there are like two things here. I only buy foods that I actually like. So, every once in a while I will buy like a new ingredient to try. So like a couple months ago, I bought a bag of millet that was in the discount bin. And so I tried it as a new food and I liked it. But I literally only buy things that like I know I like, and then I will buy sort of new things to try when they are deeply discounted. So I like everything that I buy. That helps. I think the other thing is if I get a hankering for something and I have the ingredients on hand, I will make it instead of what is on my meal plan. If I don't have it and I keep having a craving for it, I will put it on my meal plan for the next week. So I don't feel like I deprive myself, right? Like if it's not on the meal plan, but I have the ingredients and I want it, I'll go ahead and make it. And then if I don't have the ingredients on hand, I will put it on the meal plan for the next week. So I might have to wait a little bit, but I'm going to get that item or whatever that meal is that I'm craving in. So I don't really feel like I deprive myself. I might have to have a little delayed gratification or satisfaction, whatever that term is, but I always eat what I want eventually. All right, the next question comes from Britt, and Britt asks, how much weight did you lose? Are you willing to share any pictures? So I have lost weight since I got sober. And when I got sober, that is when, I obviously quit drinking. My doctor also recommended that I go on a whole food plant-based diet at that point to help accelerate my liver healing. Get your own medical advice from your own doctor. And the truth is, I have lost quite a bit of weight. I've probably lost 40 or 50 pounds. I don't weigh myself. I'm not. The point of this, though, is not weight loss. The point of this journey for me is really healing my liver and healing my body from decades and decades of alcohol abuse. And honestly, like, I don't know if the weight loss is a function of not drinking 1,000 calories of wine a day, or if it's a function of eating in a whole food plant-based way, or if it's a combination of the two. Right? I really don't know. And the weight loss really hasn't been the point for me. I will put a picture in so you can see, but it's not the point for me. I just want to restate that kind of again and again. It's been a byproduct of my health journey. I am someone, though, who was on diets like most of my life. As a high school student all the way through turning 50. Like, I had been on diets a lot because I had lots of body image issues, all of that kind of thing. But, my sobriety journey is the point, and healing my body from the consequences of abusing alcohol is the point for me. The weight loss has just been a byproduct, and it's not what motivates me. right? Being healthy is what motivates me. All right. Diane asks, how long have you been vegan? I have been vegan since January 2021. That is also when I got sober. And Miss Peg asks, are there any non vegan foods that you miss or crave? Yes, I miss cheese. A very sharp, delicious cheddar cheese is, and I know that they make, and I sometimes buy like the vegan junk food sort of cheese replacement products. They are not delicious in the same way that like animal based cheese is. I miss cheese. I miss sharp cheddar cheese. I miss goat cheese. Yeah, I miss cheese. I also miss bacon because while there are sort of bacon replacer products like processed ones you can buy, Morningstar makes one, and then like Tabitha Brown has like a carrot bacon. None of it's the same. Like bacon is delicious and I miss bacon. So non-vegan foods I miss are primarily cheese and bacon. I miss them. And there are not vegan replacers for those things. No. All right, another question from Britt. Other than chocolate and coffee, do you have any luxury food items you wish you could buy more often? Yes. I think a food that I would eat all the time if I could, from a budgetary perspective, are strawberries. Now, I just bought some strawberries for the college phenom when she's visiting, and they were $2.17 at the Walmart. That's the cheapest I have seen them in months and months and months and months. But I could eat a whole box of like I don't know what the pound. I could eat a whole pound of strawberries in one sitting. Like I love strawberries. I love them. So hopefully over the summer the prices on strawberries are going to be a little lower and I will be able to buy them more often. But holy moly, do I miss strawberries. I love strawberries. I have a question from Jean, a set of questions from Jean. Do you limit the amount of fruits and vegetables that you eat? I do not. I eat as many fruits and vegetables as I want in any given day or for any given meal. I don't, I don't count calories. I don't do any of that sort of thing. And, my salads, y'all know if you watch this channel, I eat big salads almost every day. I mean, my salads are in a bowl like this big. And so, I do not limit my fruit and vegetable intake. My blood work doesn't indicate that like I have any diabetic concerns or anything like that. So I also don't have to worry about the natural sugar that's in fruit. And diabetics can eat fruit. Just you have to track it and pay attention to it. But I don't limit. I eat a bounty of fruits and vegetables every day as much as I want, to be honest. Do you feel hungrier on some days? Yes, I do. And I just eat until, I feel full. And sometimes I snack more than I do other days. Like I'd say 50% of the time I have snacks in the morning and the afternoon. Other days I might have a snack in the morning but not the afternoon or vice versa. I just, I'm hungrier some days and I eat more on those days. Do you believe in intuitive eating? I don't know, I don't know anything about like the science and research behind intuitive eating. So I don't know if it's like a real thing. What I do know is that, if I'm having a craving for something, like I do listen to my body about that. Or if my body is indicating that something's not sitting great with me, I listen to that as well. So, a couple weeks ago, I had pasta on the meal plan, and I really did not feel good after having pasta for dinner for a couple nights. So y'all probably are not going to see me eat pasta probably for the next month or so, even though I've got some lentil marinara in my freezer from when I made that meal. I don't know. There's just something about it that didn't sit right. So if like that's me eating intuitively, yeah, I listen to my body cues. I definitely do. Next question is from Tina. And Tina says, it sincerely stresses me out when you open your fridge and pantry and they're almost empty. Was that ever an issue for you? And if so, how did you overcome that? Okay, the first thing I want to make sure that I share with everybody is that I do keep a 2-week supply of food in my emergency pantry, and I will link that video above and below. So I know that like if I live in a place where there are blizzards and tornadoes, right? So like if I had a natural disaster, I have enough food to last me 2 weeks. I still need to stockpile some dog food, but like I do have emergency food in my house. And I also know some of you really are encouraging me to have a 30-day supply instead of a 14-day supply. But I'm not ever worried about not having food to eat because I do have that emergency stockpile. And at the same time, in the comments of my videos, sometimes like I do think that there are worries and anxieties and triggers for people kind of around kind of the quantity of food. And for me, I think historically my problem was like I would buy a whole bunch of stuff at the grocery store and then I'd never eat it. And half the time I'd have to throw it out. And, so like while some folks might get triggered by a scarcity of food, I sometimes get triggered by having food that I have to throw out. And I don't want my videos to be triggering for anyone. And so I don't know what to do about that. I'll take feedback from y'all in the comments below. And please know that I have an emergency supply of food should I need it. I am not going to go hungry. I'm not. Britt asks, do you ever exercise? What is your routine? So I do exercise. I am, I would say, intuitive about exercise. I probably walk 2 or 3 days a week, and those walks can be anywhere from 1.5 miles to 6 miles, depending on how much time I have and depending on the weather and depending on my mood. The other thing that is true for me is that I do some like upper body stuff with just some very basic kind of free weights because I'm losing, like I've got some joint issues in my shoulder, so both of my shoulders, so I do that somewhat regularly. I also do stretches and that kind of mini yoga. I would not say I do like a full-on yoga routine all the time, but I do stretch every single day. Because again, like as I'm getting older, I'm definitely having some issues, not just in my shoulders, but in other joints and my lower back and all that kind of stuff. So I stretch almost every single day. I walk 2 to 5 times a week, depending on how I'm feeling and the time I have and the weather. So I'm not maniacal about exercise, and it is part of my life it is. All right. Very last question comes from Michelle. What are some cool goals, small or big, that you have reached with all of your thrifty savings on food? So my food savings typically is like what allows me to have fun money. So, if I don't spend money, the money that I don't spend on groceries typically gets used as fun money for the next month, right? And so every time I go to the movies or meet a friend for coffee or all of that kind of thing, those are sort of small rewards for me around being thrifty with my food, because I don't really have a separate entertainment budget line item. Honestly, though, like, being thrifty with my food really contributes to the bigger goals that I have or needs that I have financially, kind of by being reasonable with my grocery costs, food and household and personal items. That right now is enabling me to keep my house, and it is enabling me to support the college phenom with some of her college expenses. She did get a partial scholarship, and my co-parent does help with that as well. But as I shared in another video, I am trying to make a go of being an independent consultant, and my income has been reduced pretty drastically. So I am trying to live on less. Part of that is because I'm trying to redefine some boundaries around work, because I tend to be a workaholic. So I am trying to have a more balanced relationship with work, and being a consultant is allowing me to do that. But my income has been reduced pretty drastically. So, keeping my house and helping out the phenom and all of that are the bigger goals that I am constantly mindful of. And if you all have interest in sort of learning more about my larger budget and kind of what all of that looks like, let me know in the comments below, and we could kind of look at that stuff together if you want to. Anyway, so those are the community questions I received. If you all have additional questions for me, please put them in the comments below, and we can look at doing another one of these videos in the future. Anyway, thank y'all so much for all of your support of me, your interest in me, your support of this channel. And I deeply, deeply appreciate each and every one of you. This channel is a real source of joy and accountability for me on my journey. And I thank you for being on it with me. All right, I'll see you again in a couple of days after the phenom is gone. Okay, thanks everybody.